This is going to be fun. Hey, everybody. Kurt Molly here, Black Box Social Media. We just started the recording. So today I have a great friend, Mr. Tellman Knudson, and, of course, Mr. Jeff Schechter being here as well, too. Hey, you guys, we got a bunch of stuff I want to talk about. So just a couple of things to kick this off. So obviously this is the SMAG M.O.B, the SMAG Mob. That is Monday on Lab. We're going to talk about one of the most interesting marketers in the world. We're going to talk about storytelling, email list building, and really growing your audience. So if you don't know how this works, I'll explain it here just very quickly. Is remember, every Monday we come out with new training material that is absolutely free, complimentary, where we talk about a certain topic. This week is going to be list building, storytelling, with Mr. Tellman Knudson. Now, typically on Wednesday, we have a breakout session webinar. We're actually going to move it till Thursday this week. So today you're going to get to know Tellman a little bit more personally, a little bit more about list building. We're going to give you some tips and some advice on list building and just some amazing Tellman stories that I want him to share. And then we'll give you a link because Tellman is doing something very, very, very special. Starting in, I believe, what is it, a week and a half? You are hosting
technically,
yeah,
3 days.
3 days.
Yeah, first one's on in 3 days.
I do have to say, Tellman, you are hosting 12 of some of the world's largest entrepreneurs on list building. So I'm going to put in a link right here. By the way, you guys, it's free to register.
Let me rephrase. You mean the 12 smartest, most brilliant, most accomplished email marketers and list builders on the planet? Yes, those 12 are all going to be speaking. It's going to be awesome.
So, Tellman, you have been doing this. So you've been in online marketing, just so everybody gets to know you just a little bit. You've been in online marketing how long? 3, 4, 6?
2004, since 2004.
What was the first thing?
Over a decade. Over a decade.
Now, this is really important to mention because, again, we're talking about list building and storytelling, but you've not only done this in just one niche. How many different niches have you built lists and followings in?
For myself that I owned 100% of, right? So, I mean, because I've had percentage deals with clients, I've built lists, I've done cooperative launches, I've done advising. So I won't talk about all those areas yet. These are just for my own business, okay? So started with NLP. I used to have this website called NLP-expert.com that was built on some really crappy website builder back in the day. So when I started doing all this stuff, I was a hypnotist, a local hypnotist here in Vermont, and I wanted to figure out how to stop just trading my time for dollars, right? I wanted to scale online and grow a global business where I could live wherever I wanted and make money that was outside of my ability to make in my current business in my local economy. That was my goal, right? And so I started in NLP, and that didn't really make me any money. And then I inadvertently ended up building an internet marketing list. And I made my first, I like to say I made my first $1 million in my first year, but it's not really true. I had a goal of making $800,000. When I really, or a goal of making $100,000 or $1 million when I went in my first year, and I announced it at my 27th birthday. But what ended up happening to all my friends, and they all gave me a good beer cheers and a pat on the back and like, good luck, buddy. And then on my 28th birthday, I took them all out to the fanciest restaurant in town. It was pretty awesome. I didn't make $1 million. I made $800,000, and that was inadvertently building kind of a combo list between internet marketing and self-improvement. It was a weird thing. It wasn't super focused, but it still made a bunch of money. It's called List Crusade. I was on a crusade to learn how to build a list. And so I interviewed over 80 people about my journey, right? And I was asking all the same questions that all of my subscribers were asking. And so it was very congruent and very nice. And it really bonded me with my people. And then I went out and I did I always had a big interest in attention deficit disorder because I was diagnosed when I was a kid. I used hypnosis and NLP and binaural beats in order to learn how to harness my symptoms and actually learn how to focus what used to be drawbacks and turn them into extraordinary abilities and kind of like superpowers. I developed this process with hypnosis and NLP. And I really wanted to market it locally, but for the love of God, I couldn't get parents to pay for their kids to come in and see a hypnotist to get them to tinker with their brain and get better at dealing with their ADD that they hated themselves for. So, but I was able to do it online. I built a $30,000 a month business called ADHD Secrets, and I taught all these things in a recorded format. I was able to do it online, even though I couldn't do it locally. So that was cool. And then I built a nonprofit list with my Barefoot Run Across America to raise money for homeless youth. And so I ended up starting a nonprofit and built a direct response list of donors, and so that was cool. And then I went, and after all my huge success online, ultimately teaching list building and teaching internet marketing for about 7 years, basically I got tired of it. I got bored because I was teaching the same thing over and over and over again, and I wanted to kill myself. I mean, it was just, I couldn't stand teaching the basic level stuff over and over and over again, because my thinking had gone far in advance of that, and it was just very hard. So I left the internet marketing industry altogether, went back to my first true love of hypnosis, and built a 7-figure hypnosis company, focused mostly on money mindset for entrepreneurs, helping people to raise their financial bar so they could just start thinking like the person they wanted to be, instead of thinking and behaving like the person that they were, as it relates to money and business and salesmanship and marketing and all that kind of stuff. And so that company just exploded. It's called The New Hypnotists. And I was one of 3 total co-founders. I founded it with 2 of my best folks from the marketing company, and we built it all together. And then more recently, I've just been working with entrepreneurs and mindset exclusively on a very, very high level. And invariably, all of my students still end up saying, Tellman, teach me some of your advanced email marketing stuff. Teach me some of this list building stuff. I know that you're the master at this. And so I'm still teaching list building after all this time. And I just decided to stop fighting it and decided to kind of build something truly revolutionary and completely different than what anyone else has done. And I'm very honored and pleased to have you as part of it. So yeah, several different areas that I've directly built lists in and profited from them. I also built a barefoot running business. It wasn't very successful. I created a info product and a free video course and a membership site around barefoot running. And I couldn't get barefoot runners to buy anything. It didn't work. Well,
they won't even buy shoes.
That's the whole point. They pride themselves on not having any money, and so they embrace it by calling themselves minimalist, which is very romantic. But they actually value not buying anything. When someone values not buying anything, it's hard to sell them
something.
Ass customer, right? So I love barefoot running. I love barefoot runners, but I don't like them as customers. I'll tell you what, more than once.
So Tellman, let me ask you this: lots of different niches.
Yeah.
And one of the interesting just kind of points, and I think this is an important point of reference for everybody else.
I also built a big astral projection list. I forgot about that one. Astral projection.
What specifically is astral projection?
Intentionally traveling outside of your body. So basically learning how to become a ghost and then float around for a little while and then coming back.
How did that list building go?
That was pretty cool. There's not a big back end in astral projection. Right? It's just kind of like a one and done kind of thing. People are into it, but most people aren't going to build their business out of their astral projection abilities. I mean, you could, but most people aren't going to do that.
Most people aren't going to do it.
Right. And so, it was not a high profit. It was very fun. It was very cool. I have a whole course on astral projection. I actually apprenticed with 3 separate shamans while I was in college. I was studying perception and altered states of consciousness and superhuman abilities, our ability to do extraordinary things. And so I apprenticed with all these shamans. And one of the things that I was studying ultimately is, astral projection is kind of a modern Western term for it. But so all of these topics come out of things that I'm personally interested in, right? And I personally am fascinated by.
So this is one of the main subjects that I really want to talk about. Shecky and I have a little outline we talk about every single week. Is like, hey, usually we get on a roll, but we really want to make sure there's a couple of questions that we really frame. So, I mean, I've worked with tons of people with sales funnels. Tellman, you've been around for a really long time, and one of the perspectives that I like that you have is you've worked with people in the past where you saw that they were either just starting out, they were just making a little bit of money, now they're making a lot of money. So you've seen the progressions. And what I like to say is when you do in these different industries is it's a diversification because you're always building your list. There's some universal techniques. So when you're building the list, it never ceases to amaze me. I should always be amazed because a lot of people spend money on ads, organic, promos, whatever. They try to sell their product, service, message, whatever. And then they'll follow up with 3 or 4 emails, and then that's it. So they'll get people onto their list, or they'll try to get some people on their list. They'll purchase Social Media Ad Genius from us to learn how to run paid traffic, but then they only follow up 3 or 4 times.
Right.
Tell me, you have a way of engaging people, making it entertaining. So this is a very important question. How often, it's a 2-part question. How often should you follow up? And how often do you provide content over selling them something? I don't want to offend them, but I want to engage with them. Maybe I shouldn't talk to them. Just curious about this whole follow-up process, not offending, selling. Like, how do you got great at follow-up.
Yeah. So first of all, it takes practice. Okay. It takes practice. The answer that's the most true answer I can possibly give you to how often should people follow up is also the most flippant answer I could give you, which is more.
Yes.
Okay. Bottom line, whatever you think you're doing right now, you're not doing enough. You just aren't. Period. Anything more than you're doing is going to make you more money. So follow up more. And no matter how much you follow up, that never ceases to be true. Okay. So number one, whether you're talking about broadcasts, whether you're talking about autoresponder sequences, whether you're talking about newsletters, whether you're talking about text messages, whether you're talking about podcasts, it doesn't matter what you're talking about. You need to be doing more. Okay. Stop being so lazy about it because it's where your money's going to come from. You don't have enough money. It's because you're not following up enough. Bottom line. Now, I'm not a follow-up guy. Okay. I'm more of a creative. I'm more of a free spirit. I'm not programmed for systematic follow-up. It's just not my style. Some people have that dialed into their veins, dialed into their body. But in order for me to do anything on a consistent basis, I'm just not a man of habit. I'm not a man of routine. And I honestly absolutely hate routine to the core of my being.
I've worked with you for a long time and know, yes.
Right, completely nuts. Yes. But
so it pays the bill.
We send at least one email out every single day. Okay. For me, the rule is do it every day. If there's something important that has to happen in my life, I have to do it every day or I don't do it. Okay. And then what I do is I hire people to do the things every day that I either don't want to do or can't bring myself to do no matter what, because there are a bunch of things like that. Right. So the real answer is, number one, you need to be following up more. Now, let me ask everybody a question. I typed it in earlier and I didn't get anyone to respond. So guys, check it out. Have you started building your list yet? Yes or no? All you have to do is type one letter into the chat. One letter. It's a Y or an N. I just want to get a vibe from you guys. Yes or no? Do we have people with lists or people without lists? And it's cool if you haven't. Yeah. No judgment. All of us, none of us were born with a list. Okay? Well, I guess technically my kids were born. None of us here on the blog today were born with a list, right? So, we got a bunch of people to say yes.
A bunch of yeses. It's great.
Okay, so our yeses are cool. Guys, those of you who said yes, if you're willing, tell me how big your list is. Is it 100 people, 1,000 people, 100,000 people? Just so I can get a quick idea of how far along the path, how far along the journey you guys are.
You know what amazes me, Tellman, when people are typing this in here? It amazes me when people tell me my list isn't that big, but you've been doing this for a really long time. And I know I've seen it. You've seen it more than I have. But sometimes it's amazing that even people with really small lists, like I know one guy who wrote an amazing story, 2,500 people sold over $100,000 worth of product of I can't remember what it was. It was a $497 product or $997.
Who is this? Andre? Who is this?
Yeah, it was Andre.
Yeah. I mean, Andre's a super genius. He's great at this stuff. So here's the deal. So list sizes, the reality is if you're smart enough to have started to build one of these things, you are in the top 1% of the freaking planet. Okay. You're a marketing super genius officially. High five. Bam. Okay, seriously, nobody gets this. Everybody has their head completely stuck up their ass. Nobody understands how important this stuff is. So the fact that you have an opt-in form on your page and the fact that you're building a list puts you in the top 1%, period. Okay, so if you've started building a list, now we have something to talk about because you're no longer procrastinating. You're no longer using information overload as your excuse, and you're actually doing something. That's the key. Doing something even if it confuses the crap out of you. Okay, that's the key. That's the magic. All right. So number one is more. Number two, Kurt, is let's say that you're in a long-term romantic relationship.
Okay.
And let's say that you really would like to continue in that relationship. You would like the relationship to keep going on as it is and getting better.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
How often should you go out on some sort of a date with said individual?
Now, I know someone
in order to have a good relationship. How often?
At least once a week.
The answer is also more. Exactly. I mean, once a week is bare minimum. That's assuming that you're communicating with them by phone or text every day.
Yep.
Okay. That's how you maintain and grow a relationship. The way you would treat a significant other is the way you need to treat your list. If you don't, they won't give a damn about who you are. They won't remember who you are. They won't respond to your emails. They will not open your emails. As a result, they will not trust you and they will not buy anything because they think you're a spammer. That's what happens when you only send one email a month. That's what happens when you only send one email a week and you wonder why you're not making any money. Okay, so number one is you need to be following up more. I know people that send out 3 broadcasts a day. I know people who have 450 different emails built into different branches in their ultra intelligent autoresponder follow-up sequences. Okay, or you could just sit down first thing in the morning before everybody else wakes up with your laptop on your lap, with your tea or your coffee in your hand and the candle lit, and you could write the single most important message of your day and send it out to your fans and followers and change their lives and have them give you an enormous amount of money in gratitude. Your choice.
So tell me, you mentioned a bunch of different points, and this is really good. So I don't want anybody to feel, I mean, you've dealt with overwhelm for years with a lot of your students. So if someone like has even just a small list, 200, 300, 400 people, like should they be spending their time writing autoresponders for the next 90, 100, 3 years, whatever? Start with broadcasts. Like how does someone get started so they're communicating directly? Do they wait and write or write and send?
I believe that it's a matter of personal style and completely an individually decided thing. I think that I've discovered that in the greater entrepreneurial world, like once you make it to getting over the fact that you're no longer going to have a secure financial future and everything is up to you, and you can stop being so freaked out about that, and your employee life is now over, your steady paycheck has probably gone out the door for at least several years, okay, if not the rest of your life. Mm-hmm. Once you can handle that, and not be, all psycho all the time, then either you're a systemizer or you're a creative. Okay? Are there creative systemizers? Yes. There are definitely creative systemizers, but most of them fall on one side or the other. So if you're a creative, you like expressing yourself. You actually you get joy out of creating a cool email. Okay. You're a creative if you're a painter, if you're a musician, if you love sculpting, if you've always been a poet, if you got an A in art class. Okay. I mean, these are some indicators. Now, there are people that find their creative juice when they're 60 too. Don't get me wrong. There are amazing stories about people tapping into their creativity. They just didn't ever find their medium. But generally speaking, there are creatives. Creatives also don't usually like following the rules as much. Okay. Usually they kind of get off on breaking the rules, right? Mm-hmm. Systemizers, on the other hand, are better and specifically system implementers. They're better at knowing what the rules are, knowing what the blueprint is, and getting the to-do list done and getting it done on time. They're punctual, they're detail-oriented, they're reliable as all hell, and they're great, okay? Creatives are usually unreliable. They're usually more sporadic and spastic, and but when they perform, they do brilliant stuff. Systemizers, or there's probably a better, I'm just making this term up, but systemizers are more system-oriented. They're more process-oriented. They want rules to follow and feel very uneasy if they don't know what the plan is and they don't know what the rules are, because they get blinded when they don't know how to win, when they don't know how to implement the process. And so if you're more systematic, if you're more logical, if you're naturally really organized, these are indicators that you might want to think about building funnels and systems. Okay, for example, need to be very analytical and systematic and consistent when you're checking Facebook ads and you're logging every day and you're looking at your numbers and you're looking at your stats and you're comparing things, and that's a very numbers-driven, analytical, systematic kind of approach. And again, I understand that there are amazing mathematical savants that are definitely more creative than systems oriented. So this isn't a black and white thing.
Right.
But the creatives, on the other hand, they want to express themselves today, and it's like pulling teeth trying to get them to plan ahead to do anything tomorrow. The reality is,
you know what that's like?
I do. I know exactly what it's like. I would rather do something on the fly than plan ahead, personally. Okay?
I understand.
That's how I've always been. Can I force myself to plan ahead? Yes. Do I enjoy it? No, I don't. So I write emails on a daily basis. And then what we do is I hire someone to go in and look at the stats and take those emails and put them into an autoresponder sequence of the best emails. Right?
Ooh, I like that.
That's a way around it. It's a way to be creative, but get the benefit of the system. Hire someone who's strong where you're weak. You're really, really critical. And you can do it for $20 an hour, So I would really recommend that you go with your strengths, but the reality is you need to follow up more. You need to send more email, but there's something that's much more important than that, which is if you have anything less than 10,000 people on your list, you need to be spending at least 2 or 3 hours a day driving traffic to build your list.
Very important.
Okay.
Very important.
What's clear on this, everybody? Like, if you have no list and you're not spending any time to drive traffic, how the hell do you think you're going to get a list?
Yeah.
Where's that list going to magically come from? Nowhere. So, guys, if you have any questions about list building, about generating traffic, about writing compelling follow-ups, about anything that we're covering, ask your questions, type them in, and we will more than happily answer them in the chat. Or if you, I don't know how you run your blabs, Kurt, but I'm more than happy to have people jump on and ask questions if you want them to. So
yeah, I just have actually a couple of questions for you that I want to go over that I'm happy to take some live questions. Because like as I mentioned before here in the, I know we've got a lot of other people join, and a lot of people brand new on Blab for the very first time have showed up today too. So hey, we welcome all you guys.
What's up, Jonathan? how you doing?
It's good to see you guys. So remember, we keep all of these recordings for Blab Live, and then I put these inside of our membership area for Social Media Ad Genius, what we like to say, SMAG community members. Now, Tellman's doing something really special from now until March, which is amazing. If you click on the link right here, you can see what it is. It's free, but he's gotten literally 12 of the world's best marketers, email list builders, storytellers. Some of these guys I know really well. They're great friends. I'm honored to be one of them. A couple of these guys I don't know, but we've done a little bit of business with. But I'm telling you, hands down, Tellman has culminated some of the most brightest people out there. Now, Tellman, there's one thing that I wanted to cover that Shecky and I wrote down. We always talk about, okay, we're going to do the Blab. We have a training topic for the week. So, of course, we're talking about list building and working with you. We're saying, okay, what's really important? Now, Tellman, I've described to you, we have this, what we're calling social media ad genius profit funnel. And basically what it is it really helps people break down, where are they at in the funnel process specifically, and what can we do to quantify their traffic actually coming in, right? How do we know we're actually doing enough, and whatever we're doing, how do we quantify it? So Shecky always asks, okay, what's important? So now that someone's identified their perfect customer, we tell them, hey, focus. Do you have a product, service, or message to sell? Yes, great. Who's your avatar? We figured that one out, figured out who we're going to market to. And now we start some marketing. And we start to kind of figure out, why it's important to market to this person. When are we going to market them? How are we going to market them? But the question that Shecky and I always go over is, hey, what's important? Well, you've identified all the parts of a perfect customer. You've been working on advertising. Well, it's important so you don't screw it up, right? And I love when people say, hey, I don't want to screw it up. I don't want to send too many emails, too less emails. I'm not really quite sure what to do, right? Yeah. So on my side of teaching people how to run ads, you spent all this time running ads. You've even got just 10 people opted into a list. So so what you were talking about before is momentum. Are you talking about saying like a story every day? You mentioned just a little bit. You write something every day that's important to you and important to your list. Like I'm just trying to quantify to help people keep following up. What's some advice you have for those daily emails that you write for the broadcast emails?
Yeah. So again, if you're a systemizer, you're going to plan this out. And if you're a creative, you're going to freestyle it. It's cool. And even if you're a systemizer, you can mess around with freestyling it. It's okay. Right. But basically here's the deal. There are some go-to emails and formats that I use that are my money emails. Okay. If I want to get email to get opened, if I want an email to get clicked on, if I want an email to make sales, I'll go to one of, say, 5 different formats. Okay. Mm-hmm. On the other hand, I personally, at this point, again, I've been writing and sending email for 11 years. And I take great joy in experimenting with it and trying new things that I haven't ever seen anyone do before. Or if I see someone else do it, I try to see if I can find a way to make it work for me. And it's really fun. So, and money comes out the other side. So I get to be creative and do wacky stuff all the time, mm-hmm. and make money. It's one of the most highly paid artistic gigs in the world. And so you can write about, so for many years, all I did was think in subject lines. And I had trained my brain to recognize snippets of 2 to 3 word phrases in the middle of people's sentences or on signs that I would see or in lyrics in a song. And I would notice its impact and power as a subject line. And I had a subject line notebook for many years. I would just write all these crazy subject lines down in. And so what I do is we'll go throughout the day and wait for a feeling of inspiration. And when I feel a strong emotion, I'll say, oh, let's capture that. Let's turn that into an email. Okay. However, if you're angry or pissed off, you skip over those emotions. Those don't usually result in very effective emails and usually just make everybody else mad too. Doesn't work. So basically, yeah. So you can do, there are several things you can do. You can do a Seth Godin, and Seth Godin is a great model where he writes a couple paragraphs of text every day that are like words to live by for aspiring entrepreneurs. And he does a blog post. And his blog post is set up, I think he still uses Typepad. And the blog post is set up so that when he publishes it, it automatically sends that as an email to his list. Okay? It's not personalized. He doesn't collect first name. It doesn't sell anything because he's not a direct response marketer, but he does one hell of a job of following up. And his daily follow-up, then people read the email, they click through to the blog, they click the share link, and his list continues to grow virally from people who are spreading the word about his daily words to live by, his daily thoughts for the day. It's a very effective way of organically growing a highly responsive email list of loyal followers and a tribe if you have time. You know, if you have your income taken care of, he's a creative, but he does it every day. He sits down, he does it every day. I mean, he's a super prolific writer, right? Art of Manliness does the same thing. If you've ever read their blog, artofmanliness.com, every day they do a blog post, and it goes out as an email, and it's cool. It's all about the old values of manliness. Handlebar mustaches and aftershave and all that kind of stuff. And so what the real point here is, you can be very factual if you want to. You can have a tip of the day. For a couple of years, I did Dear Tellman, like Dear Abby, and every day I did like a 5-minute long video where I answered a question, kind of like what Gary Vaynerchuk is doing right now with a lot of his videos. Ask Gary V, that kind of a model. Very easy model to do. It's been around forever, and it works. It works really well. If so you encourage people in every communication you put out there to them to ask questions and to reply to this email with any questions you have and all that kind of stuff, right? And then you answer them. You can talk about your thoughts for the day through the filter, through the lens of your tribe and the people that you're trying to build. You can send poetry and link it up. We just sent out a Get Shit Done poem that converted like crazy because we have a product called Get Shit Done, and we sent out a poem, and it was a limerick. People freaking loved it, and so anything that you can translate in text, you can basically send as an email. But the easiest way to do it is to write a letter or a note to one person that represents your ideal customer or client.
This is good.
And this is not me talking. This is me channeling amalgamation of things, of copywriters that came before me that were extraordinary giants that I learned these things from over and over and over again until I finally started applying them and getting it, right? Mm-hmm. And so it just so happens that my mother and my father, who've been divorced for many, many years, happen to represent pretty closely the demographic of the two markets that I've made the most money in. Okay. And that's in the internet marketing space and in the personal development space. And after analyzing my best customers and finding my most frequent customers and finding out how old they are and finding out what religion they are and finding out what political beliefs they have and finding out where they live and finding out what kind of cars they drive and all these types of things, just so happens that it's basically my mom and dad, right? And so when I sit down and write my best emails, I sit down and I write, Dear Dad, Dear Mom, and I write them a letter. Oh. And then afterward, I change Dad and Mom to Dear First Name and press the send button. When you do that, every word you write has so much more meaning. Mm-hmm. It's unbelievable. But if your ideal customer or client is someone else, then write that letter to that someone else, as if you haven't talked to them in a very long time, and electricity doesn't exist, and you're sending that overseas via ship. It's the one letter they're going to get from you all year, sealed with wax. And write it like it means something. You know what I mean? And lo and behold, that'll make you a lot of money. It'll do really well. It also creates an unbreakable connection between you and your people, an unduplicatable connection. If you're worried about competition, if you're worried about what can you offer that is different than everybody else out there, you can offer you.
What's interesting, I'm glad you say this. Like, I always, especially to my list and our followers on our email list, I want to be really transparent. I'm an open book, and Shecky knows, like, we just don't hide stuff, and it's really heartfelt. And Shecky's been writing a lot of the emails. I mean, Shecky, you're doing really good on really tapping into the story, and it's all the truth behind it as well too. Is, hey, here's how we can help. Here's what it means to us to even be allowed to assist. And I'm curious, Shecky, for you, when you sit down and kind of think about, like, even writing the Blab story for the week or helping write some of the Blab article, like, what are some of the things that you do to kind of get you in the frame of mind to tell some of the stories and write? I'm just curious.
Well, now that Tellman talked about, creatives and systemizers, I can see where my trouble lies. Because I fight those two. I feel like to an extent I'm a creative systemizer. And so I've got this dual thing going on all the time. But that whole issue of, naming the avatar, and I know like Kurt, in your case, you called your avatar June after your mom. And Tellman, what you just said really was just brilliant about creating a bond. And so I try to think about the person who's sitting on the other side of the computer that's on our list that's going, okay, they're probably a solopreneur or a small business owner. And they're struggling, kind of like some of the stuff you said, Tellman, about like maybe the income is, not so steady and they're struggling a little bit with that. And how can we create some sort of something to grab onto that is, that is meaningful right now? Like, hey, this is something you can learn and this is something you can do and get yourself into action and get yourself into learning so that you can keep things moving forward. And when I write stuff, I try to make it obviously extremely personal and to where I'm writing to one person. And it doesn't matter whether it's being signed by Kurt or signed by me or whatever. I mean, the point is, this is about you when you're reading the email. And it's not really about us. And so the stuff that you said, Tellman, is just spot on. And like you, I've studied a lot of people too, but that one thing, and I do a lot of coaching calls too with our new social media ad genius people. And oftentimes on those calls, just that one concept that even when we start talking about avatars, saying like, how well do you know them? How intimate are they? What do you know about their habits? Who are they really? Even if they're made up, even if they're hypothetical, I'm asking those questions because what I'm trying to do is get that marketer to understand that they must bond with that avatar. Because if they don't, the avatar is never going to bond with them.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tellman.
I was just going to say earlier, we were chatting about this a little bit, and the basic thing is that people are nervous that they're going to send out something stupid. People are nervous that they're going to get rejected. People are, what the number one reason people don't mail their list is? They don't want unsubscribes.
Yep.
People don't want unsubscribes.
Yep.
Okay, let me explain something. Okay, there is a direct correlation between the number of unsubscribes you get and the amount of money your email will make you. They are in direct proportion. The more money you make, the more unsubscribes you get every single time without fail. Okay? So, getting unsubscribes is like people dying. People die. You get unsubscribes. That's how the world works. When you're feeling shy, look, I'm a very introverted person, first of all. You have to understand, my entire life, as a kid, I had zero self-confidence. I had freaking learning disabilities. My legs were deformed. I couldn't catch a ball. Nobody understood a single word that I was saying ever. I just did not fit in. Okay. I did not know how to conduct myself at all socially. And honestly, to this day, I'm very, very awkward socially. I'm just usually very confident about it now. And the thing is that makes the biggest difference in the world is when you're trying to meet a group of new people, let's say you, as a kid, maybe you transfer to a new school or you get a brand new job and you're going in, you're a little bit sheepish, you're a little bit shy. You're like, everybody's looking at me. This is a little weird. How should I act? And the real answer that you heard from your mom and your dad and from your brand new teacher and from your boss or your manager is just be yourself. Just be yourself. And honestly, if more people were themselves with their list, instead of trying to sound all professional, so much more money just by being cool. So the biggest rule of composing email is write an email same way that you would write to a close personal friend that you wanted to reply or do what you asked them to do in that email. One of the best things you can do to improve the amount of money you'll make from your list is to go in your sent and your received email, but more importantly, look in your sent email where you replied to someone else's email and notice what they wrote to you that caused you to take the action they wanted, which was to reply.
Simple.
And then use that email as a template to send to your list. And
That's great.
use the same subject line, use the same font size, use the same call to action, and you will see everything explode just by sending a personal email to your list. It changes the game.
That's smart.
That's pure gold, man.
There's a couple of questions I want to answer over here. Jonathan, first of all, Jonathan, we welcome to the Blab. So you have a question for me. And if you guys don't know kind of the story with us on Facebook, it's really unique. You're going to have to go to smag2.com, SMAG2.com, because really what today we're talking about is Mr. Tellman and list building. And remember, really for the next couple of months, Tellman has 12 of the world's best list builders. And I'm not saying that by exaggeration. This isn't a hype. Like, it's just the truth. Like, there's no way around it. If you click on that link, you can register. Again, it's a free event, free training every single week from just a couple of days until March. There'll be a training with somebody different that Tellman's worked with, talking about list building, growing the list. So, Jonathan, you had asked, hey, what about Facebook? Because right now, me personally, I'm not running ads on Facebook. It's a whole other story. But basically, Jonathan, one of the things that we're doing is like the weekly blab. So we're doing this weekly blab that what's really interesting is we see organic traffic come from it and a bunch of social referrals. That's one way that I'm building my list. The other way that we're building our list is we're running on Twitter, Google, display, AdWords. So it's really quite interesting because what I'm really seeing over the years that we've been running traffic and the millions of dollars that we spent on Facebook and Google and whatnot is really starting to spend money on Facebook at first is great. But once you really get the demographics and everything else dialed in, Google can actually allow you to scale that traffic a lot faster, a lot easier. They have better customer support to follow up. So right now, really what I'm working in is like with Tellman, I'm one of the 12. I'm one of the 12 in what he's doing, so I'm doing a lot of JV stuff too. So what I've done for years is building relationships with my list, off my list, with people in person, and it's really coming from my list building stuff right now. A lot of it comes from referrals. It's pretty nice. As long as you do a great job to your audience, people will refer you all the time, which is amazing. So lots of different ways. So Jonathan, by the way, Jonathan, make sure that you're following us on here. You'll see the weekly trainings that come out. And everybody else, by the way, we upload all these trainings over to YouTube. You can go to Social Media Ad Genius, our YouTube channel. We string together all the trainings we put together, expert interviews, our 12-step follow-up process as well, too. So Jonathan, really, really, really smart question. I really appreciate that. Absolutely. I appreciate you being here too, as well, too. So, all right. So we got Frank over here, and Tellman, this is
go ahead.
If there should be a way to, so I put answered.
I heard a voice.
Can you guys hear me, or?
I can hear you, Kurt. Yeah, we can hear you loud and clear.
Okay. So what's the best way to jumpstart your list to get people from social media such as Facebook groups on your list?
Okay, cool. Frank, you're still here. So tune in. Pay attention right now. Okay. So number one, Frank, I just checked out your site, and I am looking at your Blab channel and looking at your Twitter channel, and really the question is, how do we get people to join the list? Okay. And it's one of these things where I can give you kind of an off the cuff answer, but it's not going to be useful to you. Okay. So I'm looking at your site and see something about vision into profitability, 12 best business books every entrepreneur must read in order to skyrocket revenues and quickly succeed in business without screwing up, and get access to all this all the resources. So basically, the first thing that you can do is you can be really specific about the benefit that you're going to give them as a result from them joining your list. Okay, you're trying to attract some level of entrepreneur. Maybe it's a wantrepreneur, maybe it's a startup, maybe it's a coach, maybe it's a consultant, maybe it's a small business. I don't know who you're trying to attract. Some kind of entrepreneur. So you need to be really specific about what the benefits are that people are going to get from joining your list. But in order to be really specific about that, you need absolute clarity about who your tribe is. You need to know exactly who the group of people that you want more is. And number one, that's your first goal. Okay. The second goal is you need to decide on the specific problem that you are going to solve for that person as a result of them opting into your list. Okay. The specific problem. Okay. And then the third step is you need to decide the specific technology or the specific platform by which you are going to solve that problem. So it's a 3-step process in order to really get clarity. And if that's your primary website, then you don't have clarity on this yet. Okay. So this is something you can take to the bank in the next 24 hours, Frank. And I hope you do, because when you do this, who's the tribe? Entrepreneurs. Be more specific if you can. Okay. Who's the tribe? So entrepreneurs and startups or early stage companies. So that's cool. Remember, entrepreneurs and startups usually don't have any money yet, which kind of stinks to have them as customers. So really ask yourself if you want startup entrepreneurs as customers, because they usually can't pay you. But let's just say tech entrepreneurs. Okay. So cool. So in that case, what I want you to do is make a list of the top 12 biggest problems on the mind of tech entrepreneurs who are running 7-figure or more companies, right? And name the 12 biggest problems that they have that you can solve or that you can find a solution for by interviewing someone else, right? Write those down, and then you decide on one of them that you're going to focus on solving. And in traditional direct response marketing, this is what we call your niche. Okay, most people start with their niche and they screw it all up, because when you start with the niche, but you don't focus on your tribe, then you don't have any back end, and then you have to build your whole business again from scratch. I can tell you from experience, it sucks. Don't do it. Start with a tribe of people that you can solve multiple problems for, and then focus on the one problem that you can solve the best, that they're willing to pay the most money for. Okay. And then number 3 is, what's the platform? What's the technology by which you're going to deliver that solution? Are you going to do it by a webinar? Are you going to do it in the series of videos, i.e. product launch formula style? Are you going to are you going to get them on an autoresponder sequence and solve it ARM style? Are you going to do a webinar series like we're doing with the list building event? What is the mechanism by which you're going to solve that problem? What's the delivery mechanism, so to speak? And when you have those 3 pieces in place, then the other 9 steps that come after that are a lot easier.
One of the interesting questions, Tellman, that we have in here from Melanie, she says, hey, were you successful in building a list with Blab? Now, I know I've been running Blabs for the last couple of weeks. And am I going to say that I get hundreds of thousands of people on our email list? No, but I'll tell you 2 things from my side of it. And then Tellman, I'd love to hear from yours. I love Blab because it's early adapters, people who are open to try new things, people who are willing to try new things. And when we're selling training, especially, hey, here's how you can do something new to learn how to advertise on Facebook. I love Blabs. So do I get hundreds of leads from Blabs? No. Do I get qualified people who are really interested, who have listened to some of these discussions, and they're like, hey, you know what? I want to do business with you. And they look over our websites, go to our weekly breakout webinars. Unequivocally, it's helped us build our list and gain some great customers. But I mean, Tellman, you sold some high-end masterminds from Blabs. Like, what's your feedback on list building and Blabs and consistency of Blabs?
So I found something really interesting. I did basically 2.5 months of Blabs every day with Terry Sullivan. And we learned some interesting things. First of all, Blab is still growing, and anything that we say today could be different tomorrow, right? With that said, I really like Blab a lot. Blab is the most interesting webinar platform that's out there in my experience, and that's really what it is for anybody that's confused. It's a webinar platform. I mean, it's an evolution of GoToWebinar, and it's a great evolution. Okay, so the big thing to remember is that when I was doing those Blabs every day, the business that I was focused on was my hypnosis business. Mm-hmm. And I have 130,000 active hypnosis subscribers. And as of the other day, I had less than 700 Blab followers. Okay. I emailed my list of 130,000 subscribers Monday through Friday, almost daily, to get them to come to my Blabs, and they would not do it. They refused. My hypnosis list are not early adopters. My hypnosis list are not social media managers. My hypnosis list is not interested in internet marketing. They do not give a damn about that stuff. They want to improve their mindset. Okay? They're not interested in technology. They would rather avoid it. Okay. On the other hand, people that are interested in marketing, specifically internet marketing, certainly email marketing and list building, are always looking for new technologies to adopt, always looking for that extra edge, always interested in what's new, but not necessarily what's proven, because that's kind of boring. And so, on the other hand, during that time doing those blabs, I was getting an 80% opt-in rate on my squeeze pages.
Wow.
And I got some insanely qualified individuals and leads, and we made quite a few sales, but not enough to justify daily blabs. And when I realized that, I was kind of tired of doing blabs. I burned myself out on it. Doing a once a week blab, a few times a week is cool. But at that point, I do not know that blabs are effective for sales. I've not done a blab that has done $1 million in sales. I've done webinars and teleseminars that have done $1 million in sales. I've created sales videos that have done $1 million in sales, but I've never done a blab that has done $1 million in sales. And why is that? Well, number one is the audience isn't big enough yet to do $1 million in sales in most industries, in most cases, right? So I might tell 130,000 hypnosis subscribers to join me on a blab and get 10. That's weird. On the other hand, the people that came from blab were amazing. Okay, lots of very advanced individuals and advanced entrepreneurs. So I'll tell you guys the secret to building your list with blab if anybody wants to know what it is.
Yes, please.
Is there anybody on the line that would like to know the secret to building your list with blab?
I want to know.
We'll give you some. We'll have people give you some high fives, some props.
What if I told you that I will tell you in my webinar later this week? Would you opt in for it?
Yes, I have a link. I have a link for that as well too. I haven't even told everybody that yet.
Okay, so first of all, give the link out to the front end of the system, Kurt, and we'll have everybody opt in for the webinar that's going to be happening on Thursday. So give them the link. Just the normal link we've been posting is fine, and I'll give you guys instructions.
Got that? There you go.
And this was not planned, by the way. I just thought of this. So what you guys are going to do is you're going to go and click on that link in the chat, and you'll go over to the registration page for the list building event, and you'll put in your name, put in your email. That will register you for the event, and you're going to immediately get an email with a link to confirm your reservation for the first webinar in our 12 webinar series. This is totally free. We're doing it for the first 12 weeks, first quarter of 2016. We're going to help you grow your list. We're going to help you monetize your list like you never have before. We're going to get your list building with multiple traffic streams. We're going to increase your opt-in rates. We're going to increase your conversions, and we're going to dramatically increase your bond of responsiveness with your list so that they buy more products from you because they like you more, they trust you more, and they look to you as their trusted advisor. So if that sounds interesting, click on that link. We got Justin Brook, we got Kurt Molly, we got Ty Cohen, we got Todd Brown, we got Travis Ketchum, we got John Cochran, we got John Benson, creator of the video sales letter. So a lot of really smart guys. Is it good for MLM? List building is good for every single industry and every single business that I've encountered. I try to get people to avoid MLM like the plague because generally speaking, MLM will suck out your soul and it will destroy you permanently. However, if you're absolutely set on MLM, that's fine. But you should build your own email list so that when the MLM that you're promoting right now goes out of business, your income doesn't go out of business with it, right?
Tell me, just to be clear, I want to be clear to everybody else. I've made hundreds of thousands of dollars in network marketing. At the end of the day, you never know if someone is going to go out of business. So one of the things I do honestly say is because and I just want to have a positive spin in it as well.
As have I. I've also made hundreds of thousands of dollars in network marketing.
Yeah, and it's like at the end of the day is if you have a list, you can build rapport. And where the big people in network marketing honestly make money is their following, which if you have an email list and you're doing it the right way, like most MLM companies have it like set up in their network where you have to mail people. If you have your own email list of those people that you can follow up with, awesome. Again, your email list, not that you're buying.
Yeah.
But where the big people in the money make the real money, let's be honest. It's when someday they say, you know what, this company A, I really like company B. And they send one email and they go, I'm going to go to company B. And they're like, how did that person make $100,000 signing bonus and $100,000 in their first 30 days?
Because they could write an email and send it to their list.
Yes. So when people join companies for the most part, and you hear, man, they made $100,000 in 30 days, it's because they knew people, they had a list, and they knew how to follow up with them.
Yep. So this is the easiest system that I've found to do that. I suck at network marketing, and I don't like it. In case you didn't notice, I find that people in network marketing need way too much hand holding, way too much coddling. I'm just not willing to do that kind of. I mean, if you can't generate your own motivation and enthusiasm, I'm not interested in talking to you. Okay, so. But fortunately, there are a lot of other people that will take advantage of that for you. So you can go talk to them. However, the smartest people and the people who are at the top of their game in any network marketing company build a giant email list, period, end of story. Period, end of story. Okay? So super, super, super important. Let's see. And so now that that's over, I'm actually going to tell you all the secret.
Okay, not a problem. We have a couple of other questions at the top. Whenever you're done, just to let you know, a couple other questions we want to go over.
Cool. Well, now that everybody's opted in for the event, I'm going to tell you guys the secret early as a reward. Great. So here's the way that I've found works really well to build your list with Blab in a way that makes it so nobody gets weird. Okay. So one of the easiest things to do is, let's say we're talking, and remember earlier when I was like, hey, who wants to learn the secret to building your list with Blab, right? Yes. And then Frank Clark says yes. And Brooks Goldmine, which is Barry Brooks. Hey, Barry, what's up? Says yes. And Michelle Cohen says please. And Gerald says yes. And Jonathan says yes, please. And so on. What I would say is, great. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give you a recording that I made of that whole process, or I'm going to make a recording for you where I explain it in detail, either one. All you have to do is send me an email right now so I get it, because my inbox is completely flooded. Send me an email right now.
That's good.
And I'll get you a way to get that recording. Okay? And so what I would say is, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to give you guys my email address, but because what I want you guys to do is to actually register for the webinar, but the webinar series. Go ahead and put that link in maybe again, Kurt. And if you could, please. And what you guys can do is you can say, look, just email me, and then you give out your email address. And if you give out like a Gmail address, people know it's legit. People know you're not just sending them into a black hole or whatever. And maybe you make a special Gmail address that you're going to give out on your blabs, right? That's fine.
It's good.
But give them your Gmail address. And then what you do is, right after the blab, you send them all an email to an opt-in page to where they can get the thing that you promised them on the blab. Okay? And what you'll find is that what I found is that 80 to 90% of folks would then turn around and opt in. Highest opt-in rates I've ever gotten in my life. Insanely qualified individuals. Yeah. Works really, really, really well. And giving someone your email address so they can email you is kind of like a hot girl giving you her phone number. Like, you're gonna hold on to it, and you know what I mean? Like, you're okay with that, Yeah. Or vice versa, obviously. You understand what I'm saying? It's like somebody giving you their cell phone number doesn't feel like it's a bad thing, right? Me giving you my email address, you don't feel spammed. And when you email me, you don't feel spammed. And when I send you an email response, you're happy that you got that, right? It was completely by request. And so it's very easy. You can automate the process if you plan it out in advance and you think through what you're doing in advance, which I don't recommend. I recommend that you offer something on the fly based on context of the conversation. But if you're going to, if you're one of those planner types and you can't handle doing it on the fly, that's okay. You can pre-plan it, but you can set up your vacation autoresponder on your email, so it automatically says, "Hey, I got your email. Here's a link to that cool thing, to that cool interview, to that cool YouTube video, to that cool webinar, that cool first chapter of my book, or whatever you're giving away."
That's great.
Yeah, works really, really well.
So hey, just at the top of the hour, Tellman, I want to be sensitive to your time, and I appreciate you being here. So let me kind of recap this here real quick, and there's a couple of other questions that I want to make sure that we answer. So remember, we hold these blabs every Monday, 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, with Social Media Ad Genius, if you guys aren't familiar with us, you'll see the link right here. It says SMAG or SMAG2.com. If you haven't followed us now, you can obviously always do it by entering your email there at just that smag2.com. Make sure you follow Shecky and I. And again, definitely Tellman. What Shecky and I have been doing really over the last 6-7 weeks, I think, Shecky, at this point, actually almost 10, when we take about all of our expert interviews, all of the other additional content, it is how do we move people through a sales funnel, whether that be creating a product or creating your ads or running it to a landing page or following up with people. Shecky and I have talked about the 4 keystones that you absolutely must have with any business. And over the last 4 weeks, we have gone over, once you know your product, service, message, and idea, then you focus on your avatar. And then once you have your avatar, you really focus on your sales funnel, what we call the Social Media Ad Genius profit funnel. What the profit funnel or profit factory, what the profit factory really is how do you follow up with people with email and retargeting ads? It's the best way to explain it. Most people just don't follow up. The reason I love working with Tellman, he's brilliant at telling stories. He's brilliant at list building. We've been talking about list building. But when Tellman's talking about following up with people with list building, you can apply the same type of things over to your advertising and retargeting as well. Once you know how to tell a story, man, you can use that for ads. You can use that for follow-up in an email, follow-up from an ad. It gets super powerful. So the blabs, you can see all the recordings. The recordings are always out there. We also upload them to YouTube as well underneath Social Media Ad Genius. Now, what's really important, I'm telling you, Tellman has spent years and years and years, lots of relationships to put together 12 of some of the world's best email marketers, email list builders. So if you're seeing the recording, we'll have a link for you that says SMAG2, smag2.com/Tellman, Tellman. And that's going to take you right over to the list building event. Register there. Again, it's free to register. It's literally training until the end of March. But you're going to meet some absolutely brilliant people. So we take these recordings here and we break them out because you have to register for the free event if you want to be on Tellman's webinar, which I know comes up on Thursday. And I know this is a great kickoff that we'll be running with as well too. But you got to make sure you register overall for the event first. Now, second of all of these in-depth trainings are in the back of our Social Media Ad Genius community, back in our membership area. Tellman is what we call one of our resident geniuses. So if you're watching the recording, you want to find out more about Tellman, again, go ahead and click on the link below. If you're watching the recording inside of our Social Media Ad Genius community, you are going to have a link that will take you directly over for some way to contact Tellman or whatever Tellman's working on too. So really, really, really big. So by the way, if they're not able, are you doing the recordings of the webinar, Tellman, on Thursday?
We're doing the webinar live, and there will be limited replays. But we actually, when people upgrade to their VIP ticket, they can get the recordings. So if they're going to miss the webinar, you're going to be able to get the video recordings and the transcripts of the video recordings. You'll see that after you opt in.
Oh, perfect. All right. So one of the questions that we have over here is, and I can answer this really quickly, how do you guys go about finding and hiring a Facebook AdWords manager? I'm a creative person, if that helps. Yeah, absolutely. One of the things is that's what we tell, just follow us on socialmediaadgenius.com. I mean, we train people how to do it. We coach people how to do it. Or for people with ad spend above $5,000 a month, we'll actually do it for them. I would just say this. Ask around, ask people that have actually worked with them. Our agency is 100% referral only because our name comes up as, hey, how did you guys do that last launch? Or how did you guys launch that last product? Who did you guys hire? Word of mouth is really great for this. The main thing is just remember, everybody, when there's 2 things I want you to really remember. When you're spending money on ads, you're buying data. The more data you can buy, the better decisions that you can make. But if you're buying data, you're going to get leads. And if you're not following up with the techniques that Tellman was just talking about, spending the money to have the data is absolutely useless if you're not following up. So if you're creative, great. You're going to have to spend enough money, have someone that can plan it out, but you're going to have to spend enough money. Typically, I say 3 to 4 times your product price point over the course of 30 to 60 days to kind of really understand, what does it take to sell your products and service. But you're already going to have people going to a landing page, and they're going to opt in. So you better follow up with email, and you better follow up with retargeting as well too. So I'd ask for referrals. Let's see here. What other questions do we have? Ashley says, hello, great. Entrepreneurs and startups, early companies got that. Thanks, Tellman. You got the feedback, which is great. Frank's like, hey, Tellman, why don't you just hypnotize people to come over to your list building event? And I'm like,
hold on.
He's never heard that one before.
Okay. Follow the pendulum closely. You will attend all 12 list building event webinars. You will schedule them into your calendar at 2 p.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Pacific, each and every Thursday for the first quarter of 2016. Your list will grow. You will make more money. You will feel proud of yourself. Everyone in your family will sing your praises. You will be the richest person you know, all because you registered from Kurt's link. Do it now. Do it now. Do it now. Or you will regret it for the rest of your life.
It's beautiful.
One of the things that I do want to say, because Tellman, you brought it up, and then we're all done with our questions and closing remarks. But Tellman, one of the things that you mentioned before is like starting a relationship. You got to make sure that you're following up with them.
Right.
And I've told people this. I'm like, look, what are you selling? For instance, someone may say, I'm selling a diet shake. Like I can show people how to lose weight if they just drink this shake. That's great. If people get on your list, they're interested in health and wellness. Just because they didn't buy your shake doesn't mean they're not saying no forever. And if you're not following up, you are doing a disservice to your audience. Like if you really have good stuff that really changes people's lives, that's what I feel about our content, because the hundreds of testimonials we got, Tellman, I'm sure you feel the same way. I tell people, I'm like, dude, if people like your stuff, if your shit is really that good, if your stuff is better than everybody else's, you should be singing at the top of the mountaintops, and people should be investing and buying with you.
Or if you're just not making enough damn money, you need to be following up more. How about that?
Yeah.
If you're not making as much money as you want, send out another email, please. Your customers are waiting to hear from you. Come on.
Yeah, I love, one of my favorite stories is someone had told me that they were hired to speak at the National Realtors Convention. I'll never forget this. And the guy tells me, he's a keynote speaker. He goes, yeah, I walked up on stage. He goes, and I'm basically like, okay, everybody, they flew me here first class. I'm keynote speaker. You know that I'm here standing on stage to help triple, even quadruple your income. The realtors are like, yeah, they all cheer. And he goes, I'm going to give you the number one tip to quadruple your income. Number one tip. And they're like, yes. And he builds it all up. And he's like, answer your phone and return phone calls. All right, everybody, have a great day. And he leaves. And he said, this roaring. And I'm like, oh my God, do you know how many realtors I've called? And not to pick on one kind of industry, but I'll call 10 of them and 2 of them will call me. And I'm like, but you guys make money from calling people back and selling them. Like, I don't understand. Or providing a service, I should say.
People hold themselves back and they don't have any idea that they're doing it. They have no idea. They're holding themselves at their exact level of income that's plus or minus 10% of how you grew up. And you're doing it completely unconsciously. And 100% of your financial situation today is because you're not thinking about what the hell you're doing in order to grow. You're just not doing it. If you're not calling people back, if you're not emailing your list every day, you're being an idiot. You're intentionally castrating your ability to make money. Like, what are you doing? Don't do that anymore.
Stop it.
For the love of God. Like, build your list, build your tribe. They're your people. You're their chief. They rely on you. Without their leadership, they will die. Please.
It's no laughing matter. I mean, it's true. It's funny because people will tell me, I was just talking to somebody the other day, and they're like, Kurt, I have an email list of 3,000 people, but I really need to make more money. And I go, okay. do you have your products or
Send out a
services?
list in the next email in the next 5 minutes.
Yes. And I go, do you have products and services that you know that can change your life? Yes. I go, how can you email them? He goes, I don't want to offend anybody. I email them twice a month.
Right.
And I go, how can you feed your family on talking to your list that depends on you twice a month?
Right,
I can't depend on you, dude.
That's the problem. That's the part-time job, right? I mean, that's why. It's because people don't take this shit seriously.
So, Checky, I know you write a ton of emails for us as well, too. Any closing remarks, closing thoughts? Like, I love this. I can't wait to get this back into our membership section.
I'm still in a trance from that whole swinging ball thing a couple minutes ago, so I'm a bit at a loss for words. But Tellman, thank you so much. It's a pleasure and honor to have you here, and I'm very excited for Thursday. I know some of the people personally that are presenters in that, and it's just it's really the top echelon of the people that are in the internet marketing space. And so I know that I probably speak for all of the staff at Social Media Genius that we're thrilled to have Kurt as one of them, and thrilled to be part of this, because we know it's bringing a lot of value to the people that are, and that's really the bottom line. It's just bringing a ton of value to people that really need to hear this stuff and really need to understand this to move their respective businesses forward.
So just to give people some perspective, can we talk for a few more minutes, or do you guys need to close this off? What's up?
I need to close off in about 10 minutes, but other than that, I'm good to go. Go, sir. You have the floor.
So listen, guys, for some clarity, okay? Kurt is going to be speaking on various ways of scaling your business with paid advertising, right? We're going to bring Ty Cohen in. Ty is going to be speaking about how to actually get paid to build your list. He has a very, very innovative list building Kindle strategy that he uses with Kindle books in order to drive customer lists. Absolutely brilliant. Then we have Travis Ketchum, who's going to be speaking about how to run viral contests to get dirt cheap leads. We're going to have John Benson coming in and teaching about his VSL conversion formula, which I've been using for years to drive millions upon millions of dollars of revenue into my pocket to pay for my kids' food, clothing, school, right? All these types of things. Thank you, John Benson. We have, I'm looking up at my list. We have Dean Jackson, inventor of the frickin' squeeze page. Okay, yeah. He's going to be talking about his amazing 9-word email that revives dead leads. Dean is a guru among gurus in the real estate market, and he has some amazing email strategies, totally different than the stuff that I do. I implement Dean's stuff as a way of changing up my normal routine.
Yep.
Who else do we have? We have Daniel Levis, who's going to be talking about his amazing email alchemy formula that he used in order to drive an ungodly amount of sales for John Benson with his email process. We have Matt Basak coming in talking about lead gen. I've been friends with Matt for years. We have Todd Brown coming in teaching his six-figure funnel formula. So if you're just getting new to building funnels, you're going to learn all about his funnel blueprint and exactly how to create a award-winning funnel. What else do we have here? Pardon my crotch shot or whatever that is. Dustin Brook is going to be talking about advertorials and native advertising. Jason Horning is going to be coming in and talking about scaling with Facebook specifically. So anyway, John Cochran is going to come in. He used to do some crazy stuff with the White House. Basically, this guy's like a unknown maverick who's really good at getting A players in his in his pocket. And using that to build your list, using that to grow your business. Even if you're a no one with no street cred, he's mastered this art of getting the biggest players, the biggest influencers in your industry on board with your agenda and your game plan. So that's pretty sweet. So we're going to be talking about all this stuff over the course of the next 12 weeks. If you already have a list, you're going to learn how to build your list faster and how to increase the responsiveness of your list by not only increasing your clicks by writing better email copy, not only increasing your opens with your subject line copy, but the one part of an email that everyone overlooks that is the biggest influencer that will dramatically increase. I call it the 10x email formula. I'm going to be doing a webinar on that to increase your opens and your clicks and your sales 2 times, 3 times, 5 times, as many as 10 times. Okay, so we have this amazing lineup. the best email marketing training that you can get in the world for free at the link that Kurt has in the chat or down below or on this page, depending on if you're here live or not. So join us. It's going to be freaking incredible. We want you to be there. Do it now.
Appreciate it. So again, you guys, hey, thanks for being here. Make sure that you register. Put them in here. Again, it's free to register, so you can show up for all the trainings. It's by the way, what Tellman's doing. Just a little inside tip. What Tellman's doing here is Tellman's like, hey, I have a product, I have an avatar. You know what? I'm going to get some of my friends that I've known for years. We're going to get together. We're all going to put the training together, but I'm going to grow a list of very specific people. So what Tellman's doing is, as he's teaching you a list strategy, he's building a list strategy, teaching you about the list strategy as well, too, if you want to talk about that being meta. But it's actually really not too hard if you're in a certain industry to get 2, 3, 4 experts. Could be friends, could be colleagues that you really respect. Hold a couple of phone calls that people can join or webinars. It's really a brilliant idea to build a list, and you'd be surprised. I'm sure, like Tellman, the people that you got on here, like these guys make some huge money. I mean, I'm honored to be on the list, but with your relationship, I mean, you basically just called and asked, didn't you?
Yeah, I got everybody locked in under a week.
Nice.
You got an idea, and you're like, hey, I want to do this. And I'm like, that sounds pretty interesting. About a couple weeks later, you're like, I got the thing built. And I'm like, it's brilliant. So I encourage you guys to do the exact same thing you do. So tell me again, any parting words? I really appreciate you being here today. This is great content.
Well, I'm just looking to see if there are any other questions. I got another one from Frank about Periscope. I tried Periscope a little bit, and I know that Periscope is a great option, but the reason I don't like Periscope is because it's terrible for marketing. It's terrible for marketers. I mean, you can build up an audience and everything else, but getting people on their desktop to watch on Periscope is hard. Most people don't buy high-priced information products from their mobile. Most people buy high-priced information products from their laptop. Blab is a laptop app, generally speaking. I don't think. I mean, I haven't tried the Blab app recently, but it's certainly it's a better interface, or at least it has been. And so Blab, though Periscope has a much bigger audience. That's
interesting.
You all right, Kurt?
Yeah.
All right. Good. Just wanted to make sure you knew we could see you. It looked like you punched your computer there for a sec.
No. Sorry.
Punch you back.
Yeah. I just had a.
So I played around with Periscope, but I just didn't dig it as much. So I kind of let it go. I know Russell Brunson's doing a bunch of Periscope stuff. I'm sure there are a few other guys who are doing some Periscoping. I know that my buddy Kerry Sullivan does lots of Periscoping. So any other questions you guys have about list building or email marketing before we close this up? Anybody? Guys, I charge $5,000 an hour for consultation, and you get to ask a question. You don't have to pay me anything. What would you like to know? Because I would love to answer you, but if you don't ask a question, you don't get answers.
So let's take a look, see if anybody has any other questions.
Wow, everybody's feeling shy. All right, that's cool. Kurt,
not a problem. So hang on a second, Tellman. I want to. I'm going to take a quick screenshot right here because we have. What is this? 1,646 thumbs up for you. That is absolutely amazing, and I just wanted to record that with me with my jaw hanging open, which is awesome.
Fear of traffic. You know what? I don't know that there is a phobia name for fear of traffic, Barry. That would be really funny. We could do a hypnosis session to overcome your fear of traffic. Barry, I get the impression that you're smiling while you're typing that in. There is a driving phobia, right? But I don't think there's fear of internet traffic. Interesting. Yeah. Huh. Fear of internet traffic. We could coin a new term. That could be your new specialty, Barry. You could just become a fear of internet traffic specialist. Wouldn't that be funny? Hypertraffic phobia. Yeah, I mean, are you serious? I don't mean to make light of it, Barry. Are you in any way serious with that question, or are you just making chatter? All right. Well, Kurt, Shecky, do you guys have any other questions, or are we good?
We are good. I appreciate
We're good. We're awesome.
Tellman, thank you very much. Shecky,
Yeah. So
words?
Barry, it sounds to me like what you're really saying is fear of success, and the answer is, if I were you, number one is I would go to work for somebody who has bigger dreams than you do, and basically help them with whatever you can. Go work for somebody that inspires you and who needs what you can do, and help them to grow your perspective. Number one, you'll either be happy or you'll hate your life, and you'll shake out of your old beliefs so that you can grow yourself. But if you're having a hard time, like spending the time to get traffic or going big as you can, if you're holding yourself back, that's cool. One of the best ways to stop holding yourself back is to train with somebody that can kick your ass. Okay. As a runner, if I want to run faster than I will on my own, I go and I run regularly with somebody who kicks my ass. His name is Rob. Okay. And so if you want to make more money, if you want to get better at internet marketing, stop working for yourself, go partner up with somebody who's going to school you. That'll help. That'll help.
All right, everybody. I have to run now here for another meeting. Tellman, thank you again so much. Hey, everybody, make sure you check out the recordings. And again, if you have not already done so, I'm going to put the link in here one last time, so when people come to see the recording, they'll see it. There's the link right there. Thank you, everybody, you guys. Whoops, that is actually the wrong link right there. That is
There, I got it.
Wrong.
That is the link. Yeah, put that in there. That actually is the link that I just put in there showing of Tellman's 1,800 hands up props, which is great. So again, everybody, have a great new year, everybody. See you on Tellman's webinar. Thanks everybody.
Guys. Toodaloo. Appreciate it, Kurt. Appreciate it, Shecky. Thanks, guys.
Yes, you too. Thanks.